Okay, welcome to our demonstration today of PdfQuote. What I have open here in the PDF environment, Adobe Reader PDF environment, is an accountant's application. The Adobe Reader that we're using today is version 10. The application itself will open from anything from version 7 onwards for Adobe Reader, which basically means that pretty much all Adobe Readers updated in the last few years will be able to read and process our dynamic application, and also save, which is an interesting little feature that I shall show you during the demonstration. Okay, this first page is the page for this particular client. We have agents, or the client has agents. So the first page actually would only ever be seen initially when the form's deployed to an agent. The agent opens up the form, they enter in their details here, including their agency number, so that data can then be stored in the back end of the form, so that should the client wish to proceed with instructions, we're aware and we can pull out that information so that credit and commissions can be duly provided, in this instance to Acme insurance agents. So anyway, let's get on with the proposal form. So I'll click here to go into the proposal form. This page would not be seen by the end user that we see here. And what we have here is really a typical question set for professional indemnity. Some information here, just really information gathering here about the client themselves. And then we have a risk question set further on down the application, all of which are intuitive and also dynamic. So the form itself, rather than a flat typical web type based proposal form, actually interacts with the client as they proceed to complete. Okay, well, let's go into the application itself and start completing. I'm going to pop in my personal email address here. Actually, if I didn't put a correct email address in there, i.e. it wasn't someone@somewhere.com or .co.uk or other, it would actually bounce out and it would tell me that I've incorrectly entered the email address there. I can demonstrate that, but there's so many validators on the application, I don't think we'll have time today to actually go through each and every validation requirement. The one thing that is most difficult when designing these forms actually is to ensure that they're easy to use. So the easier the form, the more work has actually gone into behind the application. So as I say, if I was to show each and every validator, we'd never get to the end. But anyway, let's continue. Let's assume that this guy has fees of $230,000. I'm completing this as though I was the accountant, and I think this accountant is after £1 million worth of cover. So I've entered 230,000 income, 1 million limit. This here would not be seen by the client. This is for our demonstration purposes only, and you can see that we've done a quick calculation grab behind the form here, giving us a total premium of 1,755.36 inclusive of IPT. I'll just go on, give some information that the client you would normally expect to obtain. It's really just a gathering exercise here. Back here, just to explain expiring insurer. If that was the same as the scheme insurer on this particular facility, at the point of quote, when the client clicks to quote, there would actually be a referral, so that would go out so that our client could obtain letters of appointment or approach alternative insurers. Okay, so we have here, I'm going to default these, I think. I'm going to default these on 00. I will just demonstrate. If you keep an eye on the premium up the top there, this particular insurer is not a great fan of taxation work, so let's assume that it's 50% tax work this guy does. Premiums calculated and they're bounced up. In fact, I think on that there's probably 100% or near on 100% AP charged, but I'll go back to 0 because what I want to do is take this to quote stage rather than take it to referral stage. Okay, have they had any claims in the past? We're going to say no in this instance, but I'm just going to do a quick demo just to show what would happen if they said yes? And again, when they get back to the form stage, this would then refer out, but it gathers additional information. So it's quite quirky, this. The client can then give us their claims information, enter dates of claims. It's all very efficient, very effective. Name of the claimant. I won't put that in because I'm going to delete it in a second. Details of the claim, amount paid and amount outstanding. Now if they have more than one application, they can go one claim, my apologies, they can click to add additional claims information. They can likewise take all of those out, so if they've made an error they can always delete as they're proceeding. So once completed, go back to the application. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to default that one though out to saying no claims. No, there's an interesting one here. Does the client require claims made in North American jurisdiction? Well, let's assume that these guys do, yes, and it then comes up with US courts percentage cannot be left blank. So we come on here, can you confirm income from North American jurisdiction is less than 20%? Now if we said no, this would actually default out, and then we go on to an exercise of gathering additional information. But as I say, really what we want to do today is actually see the process and go through to order stage. So I'm going to answer yes to that, so it falls within the underwriting criteria parameters. Do you undertake any work for insurance companies, Lloyd's syndicates, etc.? No. So basically I've answered all the questions here. Let's just, I think I'll up this so you can see later at a later stage. I'm going to up this one a little bit. Let's put this one up to 25%. You can see that there's quite a significant additional premium for this. For this guy, and that would have validated out had it been over 100% when I clicked yes. But what you're seeing is going on behind the, or when I click quote, what you're seeing is going on behind the scenes is the amendment of the quotation. Again, this insurer is not a great fan of mergers acquisitions. So let me just go through here. Let's go to the quote stage. So I click quote, it comes through to the quote sheet. We're still in the Adobe environment, we're in the Adobe Reader environment, we haven't gone out to the net yet. This is all on the guy's local PC, doesn't have to be, at this stage, doesn't have to have access to the internet. We've got fees of 230,000, we've got the limit, sorry, we've got the premium, the limit, the excess and the premium inclusive of IPT. You can also go here and click to download specimen policy wording. But I think what we'll do now is we're going to assume that this guy is happy with that premium, so he's going to proceed to instruction stage. So clicks this button here, confirms yes to accessing the internet, which have a standard bit of code to go in there that confirms that is he happy it's safe to go to the internet. And what he would see then is it would pop up to confirm that we're going onto the internet, that the form's been completed successfully. So Acme Insurance Agencies is shown, that's processed through the system, so that's drawn from the proposal form, this, and the data that sits in behind. So he's happy with that, so he's going to click yep, proceed. Now what's happened there is we've actually bounced out onto the internet. If you look up here, we're outside the PDF environment and we're on the web. So we're on the web, let's go forward and proceed. So, and what you're seeing here, really, this is just a typical internet system whereby we're now gathering information about the client himself and his company. You'll see we've drawn through the email address here. Now what we've got here, I'll just put it up the top here. Obviously we have a date validator here. Instructions have to be within the next 30 days and can't be backdated. Now because this is server side, that's possible. And then we go down to activities detail. We're just going to add actually here, click to view, as it's not quite clear, but if you look at this, I'll go back up here. We have the broker details. These are all the details. Now we're on the internet side that have been drawn across to the internet. These are all the details that I completed earlier on within the PDF environment. There's the premium, a link to the specimen policy wording. To proceed, we have the standard question set. Within the actual policy wording there is a statement of fact which contains all the relevant information here, so that goes across to the specimen, to the policy document itself, and forms a statement of fact. Okay, so then we go to purchase stage. Okay, we're in the purchase environment. What's happened here, this is for as I say, for demo purposes only. This here would bounce out, we're still in our own website, but this would bounce across to SagePay or another third-party premium payment or payment provider, internet provider. The client would be now in a secure site, and they would give details of their card number and their Visa number. I know the premium's not showing here, but that is passed over to the third party, including the IPT, so that the transaction can be processed and the payments be received via that third party securely and safely. That's not something that we propose to bring in-house. We feel much more comfortable and obviously much safer environment to have a third party payment company processing that on our client's behalf. So they then come back to the website. This is now back into our system. And they have a download policy schedule, have the policy wording, and our terms of business. At this stage, what will also have happened is an email would have been sent to the insurer/underwriting agency confirming the instructions and the inception date. An email would have been sent to the agent confirming exactly the same, and an email would have been sent to the client. Now, on the email to the agent and to the client, included within those are attached policy schedules and policy wordings in terms of business. That's so that the agent's fully aware of exactly what's been going on, and so that the client obviously can store and save those to his computer. Well, I think that just about demonstrates the system processing to order stage. Obviously, if you've got any questions, feel free to contact me. My name's Andrew Patterson. I'm available on, I'll give my personal email, which is andy.patterson@hotmail.com, or you can contact me on andrew.patterson, PAYTERSON, @quotemy.biz. Thanks very much for watching this demo.